Welcome. My name is Nate Murphy, and I hope that this video will help you understand what class your child should take in the upcoming school year. So first off to my left here is a list of our classes or the standard progression of classes that students would take in the high school, starting with ninth grade. So as a student, if they are currently in the middle school and they're in Algebra 1, the class that they should register then for would be Intermediate Algebra. Now, if a student is already in intermediate algebra, or if they are currently in compacted algebra, the class that they should register for then would be geometry. And you could probably figure out the others that if they're currently in geometry, they should register for algebra 2, or if they're already in algebra 2, they should register for pre-calculus. Now, if they're on one of these advanced tracks, you need to understand that in the high school, the requirement, the state requirement is that they take 3 years of high school math. So although Algebra 2 meets the state's requirements as far as standards are concerned, they're still required to take 3 years of high school math. And so if they're on one of these advanced tracks, just know that we do have a wealth of other elective classes that students would have to choose from in the future. Now, there are a category, a very small category, but there is a small category of students that are in that advanced track that may want to consider moving back a step. Here's what I mean. Sometimes we'll have students that are in those advanced tracks and they get here in the high school with the rigor of the classes and they really get overwhelmed because maybe if they're currently in intermediate or compacted algebra and if they're getting a C or a C minus and they're constantly having to retake tests, if the students don't have a strong algebra background, it's when they get to either algebra 2 or pre-calculus that we find that they really, really struggle. And then at that point, we don't have a whole lot of options to help get them the support that they would need outside of office hours, meeting with teachers, or getting tutors. We want to make sure that we try to avoid that as much as possible. So if your student is currently in one of these advanced tracks, really take a second to step back and reevaluate where they're at. Is that the appropriate placement and the appropriate track for them at that time? Because there's nothing wrong. It's not going to impact their ability to graduate on time. It's not going to impact the view of colleges in the future. If they're currently in one of those advanced tracks, and I would say more so with the algebra, so intermediate algebra and compacted algebra or algebra 2, and if they're currently struggling, having to get that retake all the time, or they're just barely getting by with a C or C minus, definitely in the D category, you want to make sure that you consider retaking that course in the high school because the rigor is going to be different. The experience is going to be different enough that they're not going to feel like it's repeating of everything. It's going to repeat the same concepts, but they're going to be taking different tests, different assessments, obviously a different teacher. So it will be a new and different experience here in the high school. So I just want to make sure that I emphasize that as that being another option for your child. Now, if you have any questions, I would say first start with talking to your child's current teacher because they're obviously going to have a better idea of who your child is, what they're like, and what would be the best placement for them. But if you do have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. My email is above me here, so feel free to send me an email with any questions you might have. And good luck.